You know, I was beginning to wonder when we were going to finally start getting leaks about the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. After all, we've already gotten renders of the Pixel 10, the Pixel 10 Pro, and the Pixel 10 Pro XL. But as for the sequel to the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, things had been deathly quiet. Well, guys, that does finally change today. And that is because we have new renders courtesy of Android headlines. Of course, I will be reading off of my own webpage here on shanecraig.tech, but full credit to Android headlines and on leaks for these renders. I'm not going to dilly-dally around. Let's just jump straight into it. This is apparently what the Pixel 10 Pro Fold is going to look like, and I would forgive you for pretty quickly just saying, Shane, that looks like the exact same device as last year. And you would be correct for thinking that. It does look absolutely the same. We'll jump into this view here so that I can zoom in even further. We'll start off looking at this camera module, and it does look the same. We have an ultra wide, a wide, and a little square lens, which tells us this is a periscope telephoto zoom. We have the flash, we have the microphone, the shape is the same, the dual pill layout is the same. One thing that does look a little bit different up here in this corner, on the actual 9 Pro Fold, there's just one thing up in that corner. It's probably like a depth sensor or something like that. There's also some other sensor. It's kind of hard to see, so maybe that's the same. Maybe there's something new going on there. Nothing very significant. And because this looks exactly the same, I think that the general assumption here is that it's probably going to be the same or very, very similar camera hardware. We do have the power button still above the volume rocker on the side of the device. On the front, we have that hole punch selfie camera looking very much the same. The bezels look very much the same as well. The only thing that I will point out to you that does look different to me is the space right here next to the screen where the hinge is. If I hold up my Pixel 9 Pro Fold, hopefully you can kind of see that there. It does look like they have shrunk that just a little bit. It's not crazy, crazy substantial, but they've shrunk it a little bit. And it looks to me like they've kind of gotten closer to where the OnePlus Open is. Maybe not quite there, but it's much closer to the OnePlus Open, I think, than it was before. Now, I will say this area up here in the top where the corner is, I think is still a little bit bigger, but I think that's more down to just kind of how that screen is curved in the corner of the screen. Looking at the front, though, looks really similar. That inner bezel looks identical. The hole punch selfie camera in the top right looks identical. The aspect ratio of that screen looks really, really similar to me. I think it's more than close enough for me to not speculate on any changes there. I would guess that it's the same. Then if we look at this perspective, one thing that I will notice is that you have 1, 2, 3 speakers. That is cool. So the Pixel 9 Pro Fold has 2 speakers, one that's here and one that's down here, which there's a reason that they're offset like that. It's so that there's stereo separation no matter how you're holding the device. You're going to maintain that here, but you're actually adding another speaker on the bottom, which is pretty cool. They've also moved the SIM tray to the top. So there's definitely like more going on in this device than what sort of immediately meets the eye. They're moving components around. They're adding speakers. They're moving the SIM tray. There are some things happening here. And of course, from this perspective, you can see the thickness of this device, but in the article from Android Headlines, they said that they don't actually know the exact dimensions of this device, but they do expect it to be a little bit thinner. Now, keep in mind that the Pixel 9 Pro Fold was 5.1 millimeters. Word is the Galaxy Z Fold 7 might be as thin as 4.5 millimeters. So if Google wants to kind of keep up and keep thinning this device out, keep reducing the weight, which I think is probably more important for the Pixel Fold at this point, they will need to get a little bit thinner. No word just yet on to what degree that's going to be true. Now, of course, this device is going to launch with the Tensor G5. You can see some specifications on the screen here. We're not going to go over them individually, but the G5 is going to be, I think, a fairly meager improvement over the G4. They are switching to TSMC, and there are some improvements. It is going to definitely be faster, but I don't expect it to be some just landmark, earth-shattering improvement. The good news is the Pixel 9 Pro Fold was consistently very, very smooth for me, so I expect this to be a very, very similar experience. And of course, it is expected to launch alongside the other Pixel 10 devices sometime in August alongside another Google event. So it's going to be launching with the other phones just like it did last year. The last kind of interesting thing that I want to point out is they actually mentioned that some of their sources have told them that the Pixel 10 Pro Fold might actually debut at a slightly lower price. Now, don't expect anything crazy. This thing's not going to be $12.99 or $13.99 or something like that. But if they can bring the price down even $100, and you keep in mind that the Z Fold devices are already $100 more expensive than the Pixels, that will start to add up a little bit, right? Maybe it's $16.99 versus $18.99. That's gonna matter to some people. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that actually does happen. I'm a little bit skeptical because we just don't see prices come down on phones, especially not in the year 2025, the world we are currently living in. At any rate, guys, apparently those are our first glimpses at the Pixel 10 Pro Fold. Maybe they'll change the name this time around because it's too long. Pixel 10 Fold would be better than Pixel 10 Pro Fold, but you got to get that word Pro in there. It's all very, very complicated. I think it's probably reasonable to expect that, like the Pixel 10 devices, it's all going to be about software with this thing as well. Things like Pixel Sense, I think, going to play a large role. Link maybe to that video in the description down below if I can remember to do that. Let me know what you think about this design not changing. Are you disappointed by this? Do you care? What do you want to see from this device? Again, sound off in those comments down below. Subscribe for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.